Good evening to everyone. The Honorable President of the ICI, Gupta ji, the Vice President, Honorable Vice President of the ICI Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, Neha Jammu Saria ji, my colleague in the Council, Sansikar Chitre ji, and today dignitaries from the SEBI, Asa Sethi ji. We have Kenchi Yokama, Country Director, ADB Bank. We have with us Srikant Viswanathan, Chartered Accountant. He is CEO of Janagra Center for Citizen and Democracy. And we have another guest, R.S. Murliji, is the author of the book. And I welcome all of you for this one-day webinar on a roadmap for financial sustainability cities in India. This is one of the kind of program or seminar which we are organizing it on behalf of Committee for Public and Government Financial Management. I welcome all the participants into this webinar.
Friends, you will agree with me that the cities, or I will say the urban local bodies, or maybe the Panchayati Raj system is a very important pillar of our entire ecosystem. So we used to say that at the top level we have the central government, then the state government, and then comes the urban local bodies, the various cities, municipal corporations, and the Panchayati Raj system. So it's always a three-tier system, and it's a very, very important system. You all agree with me. There are a number of initiatives which have been taken by the state government, central government in past to make these cities and the municipal corporations more and more sustainable in nature. At the same time, there are initiatives being taken to develop more and more smarter cities in the country so that we can attract the investments, we can provide the quality of life services to the citizens and the other allied benefits which are there when the cities are more sustainable and they are the smart cities. So number of initiatives have been initiated by the various regulators, various developers, as well as even the Niti Aayog and other stakeholders. There are number of innovations can be there for this PPP model in the other part of the activities of the smarter cities or the other cities or the municipal corporation activities. You must remember that recently the Honorable Prime Minister sir mentioned about the monetization of the asset of the Panchayati Raj system so that we can generate the revenue from that particular activity as well. Now coming to the smarter city, that each one of you are aware that there is a dream project of every government that we should have more and more smarter cities. And as I mentioned that the smarter city not only provide the quality of life to the citizen of that particular city, but also enable the investment being getting coming to that particular city or that particular jurisdiction, because the better facilities and the better infrastructure is available. Now at times you will find that when you are looking for a creation of a smarter city or a better city, you need the more and more funding. And for that, there is a new dimension which is getting developed, is something about the municipal bonds.
And the backdrop, as you are aware, the increasing pressure on local finances and local government finances have resulted, one side, the inability of the local governments to deliver proper infra and service. On the other hand, incidentally, it has been able to trigger some innovation in the way such requirements are getting financed. So two instruments get very, very important in this regard. One is the pool financing that was tried out and being tried out by some of the ULBs, and the other one is the municipal bond. Bond financing, when you come to it, it's an instrument of financing the local bodies, is of real interest to ICA and its members, as not only it makes the funds available, but as our president said, the requirements required to that are necessary to float these bonds makes them get the discipline in maintaining proper accounts, managing their finances, maintaining transparency and accountability, etc. Such become instruments of governance, and these get embedded into the process of bond flotation. So organizations that were without proper system and governance would slowly embrace the path of professionalism in the process of getting their finances. This research publication through this committee is important in this regard because it provides practical insight into what, why and how of municipal bond, both from the practitioner's viewpoint and the beneficiary's viewpoints. The publication covers variety of important information relevant like benefits, the types of bonds, risk and regulatory framework. SEBI's regulations here become extremely important, and the 2019 amendment and the notification and other circulars are also very relevant. And this time there has also been a proper technological interventions embedded into the into the regulation, which is extremely welcome. The publication also brings a case study of Pune Municipal Corporation, which successfully raised the bond.
Yes.
Yeah, so let me just first thank this opportunity and also congratulate the ICAI for this publication of the roadmap for financially sustainable cities in India. This is actually, I would say, a very important topic for India's urban development, and for us, India's urban development is really should be the driver for rapid economic development for India. So this, I really appreciate this publication now getting issued. So I'd like to make a short presentation about the ADB's urban development perspectives, particularly focusing on the municipal resource mobilization aspect and what ADB can support ICAI as well as other agencies at the state and municipality levels.
And the speakers before me have already highlighted what is the importance of these municipality bonds which we are having the regulations. So before I give some perspective on the municipal bond side, what we have done, I would just like to talk about the corporate market in general. So the corporate market outstanding that we have as of now, during 2012-13, it was around 3.7 trillion rupees, which has increased and become almost double to 6.9 trillion rupees during 2018-19. And if you calculate it as a part of our GDP, as a percentage of GDP, it has increased from 13% to 16% in 1920. So this gives us the rise which has happened in the corporate bond sector. With this background in place, and if you compare India vis-a-vis the overseas jurisdiction, we find that India is not way behind the developed markets. So corporate bonds as a percentage of GDP is 16% in India. And if you compare it to Japan, it is around 14%. The other countries which are, way above this are the USA, which is, at 118%. Given liquidity generally is seen to be very poor in the corporate bond market. But even here, if you take the daily trades as a percentage of our corporate bond outstanding in India, which is at 0.23%, is a far comparable better figure than Japan, which is at 0.05%, China, which is at 0.07%, and South Korea, which is at 0.20%.
I really think chartered accountants can make a huge difference to the area of making our cities financially sustainable. I may not be overstating if I said one of the principal reasons I believe India's cities today are not financially fully sustainable is because chartered accountants haven't got involved adequately as yet. So I'll first start by calling out some principal issues in municipal finance and then lay out a rationale for why I believe CAs can make a huge difference. So as Janagraha, we worked in the area of municipal finance for the last 20 years. Mr. Murli and our organization have been partners and collaborators in this area for many years now.
Sir, what kind of funding is provided by the ADB to Indian cities? And what type of steps are being taken by the ADB to financially empower Indian cities?
Essentially, the primary mode of support is providing loans to the state government through, Central Department of Economic Affairs. So once the State Finance Department receives the loan, they sometimes channel it direct to, to the departments and municipalities as loan, but also they use it as a revenue to state finance, and then they provide budgetary support to the departments and municipalities. So they implement the project in accordance with the government's and ADB's procurement and financial management standards. So that's one primary way, but we can also provide financial intermediary loans. Like I think in Tamil Nadu, there is the financial intermediary established. So at this moment, we are providing loan with the state government's guarantee. So center borrows from us and then channel it to the state, and state, provides guarantee to the central government for this financial intermediary in Tamil Nadu. But once this intermediary becomes financially, creditworthiness becomes much, much stronger, then there's a possibility of we can provide, direct non-sovereign loans to these entities. But also there's a possibility we can, also lend to some public sector banks and public entities like HUDCO as a loan to them, and they also invest in the urban infrastructure through direct loan channeling. So those are kind of avenues that we have at this moment.
As a ICI, we have the different body as a government functioning kind of thing. Some, Chandrasekhar Chitleji handling the corporate affairs ministry, like because they have a committee. Like this committee is handling all the government, public and government financial management. I can give a trust what none of the education institute or professional institute or any regulator body did travel so much in this government and financial management. No other body else can do it, because we did everything, every possible. Now it's a turn, as is rightly said by the Yokoma, that we are struggle in the various state government laws, and we need to redefine them. We need to rework them. I made a submission to the central ministry to form a GST council things for like a GST council, like for municipal council thing, where they can form a committee where the all state going to be part of it, and in the every states, and come the policy from the central, and it's going to be in the central. Like we have faced the GST, now it's covering by the GST council. Same way, I request Yokamaji, let's begin. My ICI and the NGO all have to work together. Like SEBI have to work together to India come into the one objective, accountancy and transparency in the system, and having a sustainable project in India. With this, I think once we all together work in this same direction, going to be helpful for the India.
So thank you, and have a nice day.
Need guidance from ADB.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.